There lived a young woman named Nkiru. She was beautiful and she lived in a small town called Ibuza. She was a successful entrepreneur who was a go-getter. She was well known for her entrepreneurial skills she possessed. She was a goal-getter, she was goal-driven. In spite of all the fame and achievements she achieved, she remained unhappy inside due to the fact that she was unmarried. Her peers, her younger ones, were all married with kids. Even though they never reminded her of her situation when they went out to have fun, Nkiru was no longer comfortable being in their midst. Nkiru dreaded home as she was not comfortable visiting her parents because of the fact that her mother kept nagging her with marital talks. Her mother always nagged her to death with all these marital talks anytime she visits home. She would say, I hate that you don't even have time for men, let alone being in a serious relationship because of your job. How then am I going to carry my own grandchildren? She chided Nkiru. Nkiru's mom threatened to kill herself if her daughter refused to present a man to her in the next 3 months as her husband. Nkiru felt bad about this talk from her mother. She was helpless as she could not find a solution to this problem. It's not that she did not desire to get married, it's just that over years she had encountered bad relationships. All the men she dated all wanted her for her wealth. None truly loved her, and she detected that fact. Her first relationship ended badly because Emeka was not the man she thought she knew. He was a married man with 2 kids and a pregnant wife. Nevertheless, she tried to date again, only to encounter a bad break because Chimobi that she dated and truly loved turned out to be siphoning her money for her to find out that he was getting married to another. This shattered her heart and broke her entirely. Ever since then, she vowed not to be in any relationship. She lost all hope in marriage, but with this her mother's strength, she sought for solution to her problem. The next day, she left her parents' house back to her base to return to work, only to be greeted with a wedding invitation card by her personal assistant, who was a young lady in her early 20s. While she, Nkiru, was in her late 30s, she froze in shock as she was greeted with this news. She congratulated her PA with a smile, but deep in her heart, she was broken because it reminded her of her own predicament of not being married. Nkiru sometimes felt she was cursed. Why is it hard for me to get a good man? Is it that I'm not beautiful? Look at my mates, even my younger ones are all happily married. She then again thought aloud to herself. There is this saying that whatever you conceive in your heart can become a reality. Immediately, she dashed to a bridal store ahead and went shopping for a wedding gown, a bouquet, and other wedding accessories, believing that soon she would find a man to get married to. On her way returning from the bridal store, she saw a fine-looking man selling some materials. Immediately, a thought came to her. Nkiru, hire a man for a husband. Immediately, she alighted from her car and went to meet the young man. She introduced herself to him and asked how much he makes from his sales per day. The man responded, not so much. Then later, the man introduced himself as Izuna. She then quickly made an offer to him only if he agrees to what she wants to tell him. Izuna, who was trying to survive, immediately accepted to do her biddings, provided it does not have to do with killing someone. Nkiru explained her plan that she wants to hire him to pretend to be her husband for 3 months, and he will handsomely be paid of sum of 3 million naira. Having agreed to Nkiru's plan, she took Izuna to do some shoppings and to change his hairstyle. After settling down, they both practiced and mastered the backstory on how they met and how their love story blossomed. It was at a family function that Nkiru presented Izuna as a man after her heart, her husband, and she told her mother how they met and how she decided to keep this relationship a secret because she wanted to be sure if truly he was the one. How he popped the questions and hurriedly they had a court wedding with no friends and family. Nkiru's mom looked at her unbelievably as she narrated her story. Her mom gave a huge sigh and said, "My daughter, even though I am not happy with the way you went about the wedding, I am happy with the fact that you are now officially married." After much questioning by Nkiru's mom, Izuna aced all her questions with a smile. They eventually retired for the night. They had to sleep in the same room to avoid raising suspicion. After the weekend, they went back to their base in Ibuzo. In the morning, when Nkiru set out for work, before she could come downstairs, a sumptuous meal was waiting for her, specially prepared by Izuna. Wherever she returned from work, her home was sparkling clean. Deep down her heart, she was impressed. Out of curiosity to find out if actually her daughter was married, Nkiru's mother paid them an unexpected visit, only to behold her daughter and her husband cuddling each other and playing like lovebirds. Month after month, they all succeeded in fooling everyone with their pretend marriage. Finally, the 3 months elapsed. Both parties already caught feelings for each other, but didn't know how to express it to one another. Eventually, Izuna summoned the courage to let out his feelings to Nkiru on the day he was about to leave, but Nkiru pretended not to love him and insisted he takes his payment for a job well done. But Izuna refused. Disappointedly, he left the house with his bag. But a few minutes later, Nkiru ran after him and also professed her undying love for him. One thing led to the other. They decided to do a real church wedding and invite their friends and family who for the occasion thrilled. While at the altar professing their vows, a pregnant woman stormed the church, holding one child and walking up to the altar and told the congregation that the man at the altar was her husband. In shock, there was heavy murmur in the congregation. Izina left with no other option, confessed the truth that the pregnant woman was his wife. He had to agree to Nkiru's plan of hiring him as a husband because of the money he hoped to get from her, seeing her as a wealthy woman. Suddenly, Nkiru collapsed and her mother and siblings rushed over and took her to the hospital. It was there in the hospital bed she found her true love in the person of the house doctor who treated her. He was one of her childhood friends. After a couple of months into their blossoming relationship, Ahana proposed to Nkiru and she accepted to marry him. This time, for real. Their wedding ceremony was graced with her high and mighty in the society, as Ahana was a well-established doctor and the most sought-after doctor in town. They lived happily ever after and blessed with 2 children, a boy and a girl. Thank you for watching my story. Please share with your friends and family. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more sizzling and juicy stories. See you in my next story. Bye bye.